I know we've only known each other for 4 weeks and 3 days, but to me, it seems like 9 weeks and 5 days.
All my garden enthusiasts and passionate plant people. Here we are. It's the Sunday edition of the Let's Get Growing show. I'm Enoch. I'm your host today, and we've got a great show for you here today. It is the third week of the month, third Sunday of the month, that is. That means it's time for our monthly gardening book club with our good friend and co-host, Mr. Marc Boucher Colbert, MBC, with us here in just a little bit. Will be joining with us for the In the Garden segment here coming up in just a few minutes. But today we are featuring the book See Marcus Grow by Marcus Bridgewater, as we are featuring children's books this month for our back to school monthly gardening book club. And that's right, we got two books. We've got another one this next Sunday as well too. So we'll stay tuned. Here just a little bit later in the show, we'll have Marcus on with us to talk all about his book, See Marcus Grow. So right on, everybody, if you can here, also right at the top of the show, let's go ahead and, if I can get it up here, click that like button, hit the thumbs up, as well as subscribe and hit the bell notification to be notified of all of our upcoming videos and live streams. We're here, and make sure definitely to share with all of your friends. Let them know about the Let's Get Growing show here every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. for all of you over there in the UK as well. Let's have a big huge shout out to all of our replay watchers. Thank you all for watching us on the replay today. It's great to have you here. And if you can, drop into that comment section below. Let us know what you got growing on this year. I'd love to hear all about your gardens. How's it been growing on this year? We're, again, the season's rolling into fall now. So I'm sure you're harvesting lots of things. So I'd love to hear all about it right down in the comment section below. And if you are here joining with us live today, definitely get into the chat there. Let us know you're here, and also let us know what you got growing on. How are things growing this year? And if you got any questions for our guest Marcus here just a little bit later in the show, definitely put those in and put them in big bold capital letters so I can see those from all of the rest of the comments and conversation. And grab some hold of those links down below to all of our guests and go over and check out what they have growing on as well too. And if you can and have the opportunity, leave them a comment on a post or a video or something and let them know that you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show. So right on, everybody. It's been a fun weekend so far here on the show. We've had a really great week last week as well too. I mean, we did our very first live on location live show at the Fig Festival this last Saturday. So if you didn't get a chance to go check that out, you want to go back and check out our live show last Saturday. It was really fun. As much as I worried about doing a live show at an event, everything went really well. We had some really great guests that were on the show as well too. So we talked all sorts of stuff. From biochar to bees to, we talked with a master gardener and some of the rare fruit growers as well too. So there was a lots of great conversations on last week's live at the Fig Fest show. And also too, that show, it was organized and put on by David and Priscilla Burke from The Fig Hunter. And I also put out a video just this last week leading up to our live show at the Fig Festival with them at their fig farm that they have. And they grow, like, we're talking like thousands of different figs, and they have them just a big, huge, awesome property with all these sort of figs, and really great for you to go check that out. So go check out that video as well too in our live page as well here or on our regular page on YouTube here, and go check out that fig hunter video. And he also shows us some really great methods that they use there for grafting as well too. So if you want to learn a little bit about grafting your figs, that's definitely a great video to go check out. And right on, right on. Got a great show again here for you today. Thank you all so much for being here today. Let's jump in here and let's say hi to a few folks here. We got our good friend Jay Dixon, facilitator of the show, joining us from Midwestern Ontario, Canada. And definitely keep an eye out for Jay's links and all of that in the chat, as she'll be dropping in links throughout the show. And a big, huge thank you to Jay for all that you do to make our show that much better. So thank you. And I see we got Paul from Guten Gardening in here as well too. Right on, right on. Good to see you, Paul. Paul will be in our In the Garden segment this next week as well for our next Sunday's show. And let's see here. I also see Bowtie David in the garden too here as well with us. Eddie, thanks for joining with us as well. Right on, right on. Great to see you. Also, I see Adam, our other moderator from right up the road here from me up in Central Point, Oregon. Great to see you, Adam. Thanks for joining with us here today. Like I said, we got lots and lots growing on today. And so we want to jump right into it pretty much today so we can get going here and get our conversations rolling on. And so let's see here. Let's go ahead and welcome in our good friend, Mr. MBC from In the Garden. All right. Let's welcome him to the show. It's MBC.
Hey, everybody.
How are you doing
MBC
today?
Reporting for duty.
That's right. All right. Yeah, jumping right into it today. Lots and lots growing on around here. And I was, as you know, as well, a lot of folks don't know, before the show, I've really been scrambling to get things together here. Oh, you don't even know. But yeah, we got everything going. I'm a little just trying to cool down a little bit, but good to see you, Mark.
Yeah, good to see you too, Enoch. Yeah, and the Fig Fest. Wow, that just sounds like it was you were live for the first time. That must have been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, live at an event. Yeah, that was just something else. I mean, really, again, I was just really worried kind of about how things would stay connected, would everything run all right. You know, of course we got to do it through internet, and this place didn't have its own internet. You know, like I've been to a couple of other like fairgrounds and events and stuff, and they have some sort of internet available, but they didn't there. So I had to run off of my hotspot on my regular service.
That's challenging.
So I was really kind of worried there to whether it would all go, but you know what? It all went really, really well. I mean, really great. No problems, no disconnections, and we had some really great guests to talk to as well too. So it was really fun. And I can't wait to do the next one.
We can consider this a dry run for some other larger garden festival and event that may be happening in February that we may be broadcasting from live, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was teasing out to everybody and telling everyone was like, this is kind of a good practice run for me to see, how things go, how I set things up and all of that. And so that maybe we can do some more live events. And again, one of our favorites is up there in Seattle in February, the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. So I'm really excited about that, especially because it's this time of year each year that I'm going down to the National Heirloom Exposition. And this is usually my big event, the one that I really enjoy going to. But they don't seem to be doing those anymore. And I'm not sure if they're going to continue doing them anymore as well, too. So yeah, I'm gonna have to find my way over to Missouri now to go to one of their events
so
that they
not
do
doing
there
the
at their
California
farm.
one anymore, huh?
Yeah. Well, at least for this year, maybe next year, they haven't really made an announcement whether they're going to continue to do it or not. But I've noticed that they did set up a new event this year for their Missouri farm that they have. So I think that that might be the direction that they're going for all of that.
All right.
Yeah. So again, that just means that, we've got this great show right up in Seattle, my old hometown. And we'll make that our big primary show for the year, and
Oh
come
yeah,
out and do a live show there.
that's good stuff, man. I'm just, even though we're in the thick of the season now, it's like in the winter, you're supposed to dream about the summer garden, but during the summer, I dream about the winter garden show.
Right.
I'm off season here. I'm off track. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Again, it really is a part of that buildup for the growing season next year. Is that we're starting now, maybe in the next couple of months, those catalogs are going to start showing up, as we're finishing up our summer season, fall. I'm sure we got some things growing in for fall and winter and that sort of stuff, but for the most part, it's kind of a little bit of a cool down. And we start anticipating that next year. So, they get it started nice and early, right in February, to get us, a good head start to everything growing on for next year. So,
well, the other thing that I really look forward to, and maybe speaks to the reality of the situation right now, when you're in the middle of the garden season, it's a bit of a solitary experience in a way. You're kind of doing your own thing in the garden, or maybe you're working with a few other people, but it's kind of like you're tending your own garden. But then you get up to something like the show, and even though you don't have all the fruits and vegetables and the main seasonal stuff, everybody's too busy to do it now anyway. So, they put together whatever they can up there, but it's collaborative. It's collective. There's a sense like everybody's able to join together and bring their collective thoughts and artistry together with the materials that are available. So there's just a communal sense up there during the winter that isn't possible necessarily during the summer, because everybody's so busy at their own tasks. It's hard to get that same collective sense during the summer. It's kind of like, I can't break away right now, or I can only get away for a day or two. But the February feels very spacious. It's like, 5 days, that's fine. I could do that.
Yeah. And it may be a little cool and rainy around during that time, but it's all indoors. And again, too, it's literally like one of the, I think they say it's like the second largest, or maybe even the biggest garden show, I guess you would say, garden festival, or whatever we want to call it. It's just,
I think Philadelphia gets top billing on that one. I think Philadelphia still blows doors on Seattle. So that's really saying a lot, because Seattle's amazing.
I know. We'll have to make it to that one sometime too, as well.
If any donors are out there listening, this would be a perfect time to write us a check for 2 tickets to Philly in March, or whatever it is.
Right. Exactly.
Get out that checkbook and start writing.
I know. I love it. Bring it on. Bring it on. That's one thing I say too, is that that's one of the things we've been doing is working on collecting and donations and things like that. I usually will end the show with a little talk about that, but that's really kind of where we're at with a lot of that stuff is, if we can get those sort of donations, we're able to do some of those really cool events and things like that. So yeah, I'm really excited for February after doing this show down in California, how everything went along. And, it's going to be doubly or triply even better next February for what we can do there at that, Northwest Flower and Garden Show. So really excited about that. But how's things been growing? I mean, you guys got lots of things going on in your gardens, right?
First of all, talk of slowing down, just like in the little time when you started the show between then and when I came on, I jumped on the computer because I was like, I got to still order some seeds. I ordered some, this really cool carrot called Merida that we can grow as an overwintering carrot in the Northwest. In other words, it's designed to be planted in September, and then it's designed, it in the second year, it doesn't bolt or very much or as fast. So you get a nice like baby carrot in April or May, which is, that's the earliest time we're usually starting to plant carrots in the new season. So here we are harvesting carrots in April or May. So that's cool. So I just ordered some of those from Territorial Seed Company, our local Oregon seed company, and ordering some more lettuce just to do as.
Which variety was that called again?
The carrot is called Merida, Merida, Merida.
Merida.
Or Merida. Right. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Oh, right on.
And then I'm still planting lettuce and some other greens, especially at the Noble Rod, but a little bit at my school and home garden too. I teach the kids. My farm mentor, one of them was named Trauger Grow he was originally from Germany, and he had moved to Western New Hampshire, and he helped start the CSA movement, the Community Supported Agriculture movement in the United States. So Trauger had all these old world sayings that he used to pepper the conversation with. And one of them that really stuck in my mind, and that I've been teaching my kids at school, is September is the little brother to May. So he would say
Mm,
this: September is the little brother to May. And how I interpret it and how I teach my kids to interpret it is that just like in May, we're very active, there's a huge push to plant things. September gives us another opportunity heading into fall. It's like just the end of summer, beginning of the fall season. And although we can't plant as many long-term things, things that might require maturing into a flower or a fruit or a seed, we can focus on things that'll produce quick growing roots like radishes and a lot of leafy crops like spinach, kale, lettuce, all that stuff. Pretty
mm.
much all through September, just keep loading it on, loading it on. As soon as the space opens up in your garden, like I just pulled out some zucchini that had powdery mildew. It really wasn't
Mm.
producing very much anymore. The mildew had kind of taken it over, as it does. So boom, there's some space. Throw lettuce seed in, throw mustard seed in, throw some radish seed in. Just
Yeah.
don't let it be open. Just go for it. Just use that window that we have in September to plant stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm about to do that with some of my space along the alleyway. In fact, I was just thinking about this last night. I was like, I know we still got a few tomatoes and this and that, but I've got other tomato plants in the back area and all that. So I've got plenty of tomatoes that
Yeah.
for what I need and all of that. So I think I'm going to clear out some of these and get them going, get this space ready, and like you said, start planting out a bunch of my greens and spinach and things like that that I really want to have during the cooler season.
Yeah.
Definitely got to
Farm.
try some of these carrots as well too.
Oh yeah, the Merita carrots. You got to try those. Those are amazing. Farming is really, and gardening is really about editing, isn't it? And just because
Yeah.
something's been there for a long time, you don't have to let it get to its dying days in November. Like you don't, if you're getting like just a few cherry tomatoes from your plant at this point, you don't have to wait to get that like last little one at the end of October. No, you
Yeah.
can get rid of the whole thing now and just plant something else that's going to be more vigorous. You're not bound. Just because you decided you wanted something there in May doesn't mean you still have to keep it there in September. You can change your mind.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it is kind of hard to do sometimes, you want you grow these plants all season. It's kind of hard to let them go a little bit,
Yeah, you got
especially
to.
some that are still producing, but you got to kind of, like you said, you kind of think about what you have, what's still growing. And for me, I've got these different spaces and all that. So I got tons of peppers, I got tons of tomatoes growing in other places. This space is going to be perfect for, like you said, growing some cooler weather stuff and getting in on that. Now is my best opportunity, so let's go ahead and yank them out. Let's get things going there. And but like you said, it's kind of tough to do that sometimes.
Yeah, we develop our little emotional attachments. It's kind of like thinning. You have to learn in the spring and
Hmm.
whenever you plant, if you want big mature plants, you have to learn to thin some of them out. And the gardeners who can't do that will never get to that level of really healthy, vibrant plants. If you're too
Yeah.
attached to each little plant life and you just
Mm.
can't bear to pull them out, you'll never get the big, healthy looking ones because they'll outcompete each other. So you need a little bit of a thick skin in gardening, even though we're trying to encourage
Yeah.
compassion and connection with nature. You do need a little bit of a thick skin.
That's right. And case in point is my neighbors, they're growing their first garden out back, and they got their space all set up and sowed out a bunch of in one part some radish that they had, and radishes, and had them all popping up all over the place. And I was like, you're gonna have to pull those out and thin those out to maybe a inch or so apart, and make sure you got plenty of room. They're just small radishes, and I
Yeah.
think little globes or whatever. So I was like, you want to make sure you give them an inch or two apart, kind of space them out and pull them out. And they were just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to pull them out, because like they looking at all these plants and thinking, I'm like, you got to understand what their need for space and what, what they're going to require. And then ultimately, they, and again, too, it's kind of like back off a little bit as well, too, give the advice, back off, let them learn and have some experience. And yeah, they were like, why aren't we getting our radishes? Why aren't they, bulbing up, or growing out? And I was like, well, that's why we thin them out.
Yeah, I think I might have told you that earlier, but
right. But a good, good lessons learned. And, and I did the same things in my first gardens as well, too, because again, it's not easy to pull those plants when you're seeing all these cool ones, especially too. I get a bunch of volunteers growing all, of all different things, and you got to pull these things as weeds, like they're weeds because they're everywhere. But be selective here and there and keep maybe one or two, for if the space is appropriate, but it's, again, it's kind of tough. You want to grow everything you can if it's especially coming up on its own.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's hard to say goodbye to free stuff, right? Free food.
Exactly.
The promise of free food.
That's right.
The other thing I want to bring to the fore right now in terms of what's going on in the garden is just tons of seed saving. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's so many plants that are producing just dry seed that is pretty much finished and ready to go for us to just grab. So everything from, like, I've been getting a lot of flowers, cosmos and zinnias. Are just great it's almost like grab and go. The things are, especially if you collect them at midday when the sun's had a chance to heat off any dew or any moisture in the air. If it's a fairly warmish day, great time to collect seed mid afternoon. You just go around, grab the stuff, stick it in an envelope, label it somehow, or some kind of put a piece of tape on a plastic bag or whatever. And then just get it somewhere dark and cool, and that stuff's going to last for a good long time.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Seed saving during this time of year is really, really kind of, especially for some of these varieties that we really like, or maybe even something new you grew this year that, that you really enjoy. It's great to take the opportunity to be able to save the seed from it, to be able to grow that again the next year. Mind you, if you're growing an heirloom or open pollinated plant.
Yeah, peppers are a favorite thing to save seed from too at this time of year, because you eat all the fruit of it. You get to eat the full crop that you're looking for. And then, the seeds are usually what we discard anyway. So if you have a favorite pepper variety, and there's some things you need to be aware of. There might be some cross-pollination if you have another variety close by. But I just say get out there and save that seed. If things go wrong and you don't get quite what you had hoped for the next year, hopefully it's going to be a happy accident. And if you really need purity, you can go back and learn some more about seed saving and figure out where you went wrong. But just get out there, grab some seed. Tomatoes, I've been doing a lot of work with my students. A different kind of seed. It's a wet gel coated seed. So you have to do a little bit more to get that prepared. Although we've been doing an experiment between, if we just grab the tomato seed and just like literally smear it on a paper towel and let it dry that way, versus a more traditional way of fermenting off the gel coat, and then pour that scum, I call it, off, and then dry that seed. So I'm experimenting with just a non-fermentation method where you just smear the seeds on a paper towel and dry them, versus the scum, the fermentation method. And we're going to look at the germination rates on the same kind of cherry tomato that we've been saving seed from.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, one of the I did that with these little tiny spoon tomatoes that I got from the exposition.
Oh yeah, I know that variety.
Yeah, and again too, I think also with that, if the fermentation method, if you're looking to save seed for sharing, and you want to get a bunch of seed, you're going to save plenty of them and all of that. I think the fermentation is probably your best way to go as far as that method goes. But if you're just wanting to grow a few plants for yourself next year, I've found just smearing it on the paper towel doing that sort of thing right there works really well, you know. And again, like with those little spoon tomatoes, there ain't much you can sit there, pull apart, or try to squeeze them into a little jar or whatever in order to ferment them out. So they just work really well. You can just kind of bust them open and, like you said, smear them on some paper towel, let them dry. And then that's what I did for this last year. But I'll tell you what, though, for a little tiny tomato like that, they're about the size of a pea, right?
Yeah, the spoon
About the
ones,
size of a pea. They are very tasty. Like, in fact, I was just giving some to my daughter, and she's like, I think these are my favorite tomato now. She
Wow,
loves
really?
the flavor of them. So they're very tasty. But the plants, man, they are monsters. They
Extravagant.
sprawl and get huge and just go
Yes.
crazy for a little tiny little tomato. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, they are extremely vigorous. They got to have some super wild genes in them because those guys are like, they will not be tamed. And you just have to take shears to them basically to keep them at bay.
Yeah, yeah. Right on, right on. Well, excellent, excellent. Any other things real quick going on in the garden?
Well, yeah, just kind of get just a lot of harvest. I mean, I just didn't
Yeah,
mention that.
it's harvest time. Yeah. I
Tons of
mean, can
harvest.
you believe it's fall already?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Just bringing in
Wow.
lots of potatoes recently. We grew tons of fingerlings at school. I've been making French fries with the kids with these, and just fingerlings are really they're my choice for potato. And they are just so, the flavor is so good. It's kind of, many of them have a kind of a nutty overtones to them. They're just great, and they're very versatile. You can probably not going to make mashed potatoes out of them, but you can definitely boil and roast them, and they're really awesome. So I'm a big fan of fingerlings. I like a French fingerling, Larat, this really cool shaped one called Ozette. That's a very Northwest heirloom potato that was brought up from South America by Spanish explorers early on, maybe in the 1500s, and the native
Yeah.
tribes kept them growing. So there's just cool stuff there. Yeah, I love my potatoes. Definitely checking out the squash. They're almost ready. Got carrots and beets that we're thinning aggressively to make sure they size up for the winter, and just kind of summer into winter. It's like you're still picking
Summer
tomatoes,
into
you're still
winter.
picking cucumbers, but you're almost stepped into that fall season and the fall feeling, and then starting to say goodbye to those hot weather annuals and ready for the winter foods.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, looking forward to it though. Yeah. I mean, as much as I mean, again, too, it does kind of mean the wind down of our main
Yeah.
part of the season and all of that. But at the same time, it's kind of, I always kind of analogize gardening with baseball, as baseball's winding down, it just gets me looking forward to the next season, and so that's,
Yeah,
from one season to the next.
we're kind of a hopeful bunch, and if things didn't go too well this year, it's always like, next season will be better. We always is projected to the next season, which is a good thing.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's get moving on today. We'll take a real quick break here real quick, and we'll come right back here and get this book club started.
I'm not going anywhere. I'll see you soon.
All right, here we go. Let's Get Growing is sponsored by IV Organic.
Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with IV Organics, where we grow cool plants and author Saving the World with the Home Garden. IV Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard has 7 natural oils that protect your plants, not just from the summer heat as well as winter cold, but also protects your plants from damaging insects and rodents. The oils in the product include castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. These oils are natural insect and rodent repellent oils, which are encapsulated by the base powder, offering your plants months of protection at a time. 1 application per year will suffice for protection against damaging summer sunburn and winter sun scald, but if the target is pests, application as much as 2 to 3 times a year may be necessary.
All right. Here we are back at it now. Look at it. Here we are for what is going to be our, in fact, we got to do this real quick, Mark. We can't forget our introduction. Can't forget the introduction to the book club for sure.
Oh, I like that music too. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Right on. Well, this is our September special. We're talking about children's books here, kids' books, gardening education for our back to school September month on the monthly gardening book club. And we're featuring and return guest who was on before with us, Marcus Bridgewater's See Marcus Grow.
There we go.
Right on. Right on, right on. Yeah. So really great book. Really enjoyed this. And I just wanted to say, I think one of the reasons why I really like this book and wanted to feature it too is because I became a grandfather this last year.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And so again, in reading this book, it just makes me think about, what's to come, and hopefully some of these memories and these things that like Marcus is sharing through this book and his experience with his grandmother and all of that are things that I'll get to, pass along and maybe someday my granddaughter will write a book, right, about her experience in my garden.
And for sure, you're going to read her a lot of books. So, this is a great book to.
Yeah, this is her first one right here. This is her first garden book right here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's great to have a garden book because you realize I'm a parent, I've raised 2 young kids, and just the amount of time you spend reading to them is so important. It's so foundational to their first experiences of the world, right? They're just absorbing all these impressions and speech rhythms, and then also the pictures. And just to have something that's so awesome like this, focused on gardening, focused on intergenerational relationship and how one generation teaches the other, gets excited about gardening. It's just a lovely testament to Marcus's relationship with his own grandmother, and then just how that can just generalize to lots of folks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, right on. Well, let's get right to it. Let's get Marcus right in here. Let's talk all about this book. All right, let's get there. There we are. There he is.
Hey, Marcus.
How's it going, everybody?
Going great. Great to have you on the show with us today. Again, we're
great to be back
here. We're really enjoyed your book here that you wrote.
Yeah.
But before we dig into this book here, let's talk a little bit about Marcus Bridgewater, Garden Marcus, and all of that as well too.
All right.
Yeah. Let's so give us a little bit of a history here. Tell us about how you got going in this gardening world.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, it's an intricate story, so I'll give you the abridged version. I was working some very long hours as a teacher and an administrator at a private preparatory, and I was also driving across town as I was doing this job. And so the hour-and-a-half commute on top of the very long hours meant that I was depleting in my 9 to 5, as many people experience. And I bought my first house closer to work and decided that I would do my best to find some sort of remedy. Well, it just so happens at the same time, my plant mom, who is my oldest friend's mom, she had a nursery at the time in Florida. She gifted me a bunch of plants from her nursery. And I brought those plants from Florida to Texas, put them all over my house, and filled them up with water, closed all the blinds, shut all the windows, and I went to work for those long hours for several months. And over those months, continuously giving them water when I got home, more than half of them had perished before too long, and I was devastated. And I was really concerned, how can I keep the rest alive, and what can I do to bring them back? And in doing so, I set myself upon a really righteous journey of learning and being reminded of things I had forgotten, which is what See Marcus Grow is kind of an ode to in a way. I grew up in a country area surrounded by plants and woods and nature, and I loved it and I enjoyed it to no end. My career path, right? Being seasoned in entertainment, I went to a magnet school for high school and focused on theater. Learned both the import of charactership and then also how to set up that entertainment. So I learned both the on stage and backstage ends of entertainment. Then I went on to conservatory to study technical direction to actually learn how it's done on the highest level around the planet. And as I learned those things and absorbed that information, I found myself in theaters and on sets and in spaces where there's a curation of sort happening, but that's not nature, right? Like that's not the same thing as going through a forest and like spending time engaged in the serene setting of a canopy. So that juxtaposition was happening. And when I found that my career path had taken me away from nature and I hadn't even considered it, and here it is, now I'm knee deep in plants because I've started to find joy in my garden. Despite the long hours, I'm waking up extra early just to spend time in my garden. Despite the long hours, I'm staying up late just to spend time in my garden. It was my decompression zone. That's how I got into it.
Yeah. Again, too, as I always say, I think when we find those sort of aspects of gardening, those are the things that kind of seal the deal for us and make us lifetime gardeners after that.
Absolutely. I tend to think if you found yourself gardening and it was any kind of a reprieve or juxtaposition to the world that you were experiencing, there's no turning back. It's like it becomes the cure-all obvious fix for all things. And even if it's your tiny little secret that you carve away in a pothos, you still know that there's something about having something green near you that helps you face what we call our world today.
Well, all three of us are kind of testament then to this idea that we were working somewhere else or in some other thing, and slowly the garden world got its tendrils around us and sucked us into sort of like a somehow a full-time gardening. We went over to the garden side from the other side. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I respect all the different sides of it, and I'm reminded of how vast the gardening world truly is because I'm teaching people how important it is to engage, and in doing so, getting them in their ball rolling. Right? Many of them start seeking out you guys, where they're like, "Well, actually, now that I'm engaged, I'm trying to grow X or Y. How do I do it?" And then they're looking up those things. So it's been a really wild thing to see how many people have come back to me and been like, "Oh, you were my gateway drug. You were my conduit. You were the thing that got me started."
Yeah. And then you're leading there too. And that is the idea then is that you find this new community and you build, this community builds even more as we all start engaging with that and seeking each other out in order to, learn a bit more about, what we're doing in our gardens.
I have several metaphors that I use in relationship to the forest and in relationship to trees. And one specifically is that each one of us is a seed that was planted in our community by characters unbeknownst to us, and we had to learn to grow. And so now each one of us has the potential to become a proper force of a tree in our community, whether we be a willow, a maple, an oak, or a chestnut. We all have the potential, depending on our particular purpose. We have that potential. What I find really interesting is when someone has tapped into their potential and they're actually acting on their purpose, they've got the drive around them, they're filled by their community, and they start to fruit. Right. And now they've got this fruit. That fruit, far often than not, part of the chaos in our world today is, in the metaphor, the fruit that would be feeding the community first. Right. That would fall to the ground in excess and feed the soil, the environment second. Does not do either, because now that fruit is the value. It's the reward. So we collect it, we basket it, and we ship it. So now the community and the environment are disconnected from the labor they put in to actually fruit and yield said fruit. And so it's been a really wild thing, as you brought up the thing about community, to think about how as a community we're not sharing the fruits of our labor with each other the way we used to.
Yeah.
And that applies on so many levels. I mean, it can be something, the first thing I thought of when you just talked about that is like brain drain, you know, people leaving their communities or even whole countries and just like going away and never coming back with the fruit of their learning or their training or whatever it was.
Right.
100%.
Or it's even like where we spend our money, like corporations funneling money away from our communities so we never see it again. So
100%.
You know, that has so much, even from an agricultural perspective, you know, we're to give our money to a big seed company or to even buy food that's shipped from across the world. It's like, we're not closing any circles there. We're just like sending it on a one-way journey to some billionaire's pocket.
Absolutely. And it's offset a type of nutritional value on a cellular level, right? And it's like, it's just an interesting thing where it's like the metaphor runs really, really deep because there are multiple layers of engine that fuel this, right? The power of value has now offset the importance of worth. And when I define those things, I'm saying value is the exchange of the currency. It is the accumulation of the assets, but the worth is the actual quality of the particular thing we're sharing. It is our quality of well-being. It's our lives, our mind, our body, our spirit. So in that light, there is a great undermining of worth happening because of the import we have put to value. And many of us are feeding this engine because this is the engine we have grown up in, right? This is the engine we were planted in. So when you think of that, like when you think of this is the forest we were planted in, many of us haven't been taught from birth to take our fruit, place it somewhere else. It's up to us who have come to enjoy even a wee bit of the garden to share that with our neighbors and remind each other how important it is we share where we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've I'm sorry, Mark, go ahead.
Well, I'm just thinking of the word, you know, so thinking of your book and thinking of mentorship. And obviously it's a beautiful story about you and your grandma and the effect that she had on you as a gardener herself. And just maybe talk more about that in terms of just being mentored by somebody, because that little, you know, we know like a lot of trees get planted in Portland and they need support stakes and they need watering for the first 3 years. So the kind of mentorship when we take a young person coming up in society, it's like we have to actively mentor that person to transform them into a gardener, right? We have to make
absolutely. Well, in this same light of thought, right? If you're a young person and you've never actually gotten any of the reward of fruit from your community or from your environment, it's always been something manufactured and given to you off a truck and you're supposed to be happy about it, then you don't necessarily feel the import of listening to an elder. You don't necessarily feel the import of respecting your environment, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so in that light, mentorship has to exist as a duty and responsibility, not just a chore or a leisurely time. And the more that we as individuals recognize, no, at every given moment, you are actually being a role model, right? Yeah. That role model is because the world is watching you. The kids are watching all the time. Whether or not you think they're watching you because they're your kid doesn't matter. We have to be the role models to the community that we want to experience, right? And so to that light, I think that it's the role modeling first, because then that says that myself, I'm going to level up and be the best me that I can be. But then that next part where it transitions into mentorship is actually sharing that understanding with a younger person. But that person doesn't even need to be younger, with another person who needs it. So like that's where the mentorship really comes into play. I've been a mentor to people who are older than myself just because in that particular space, I had more understanding and experience and articulation.
Yeah.
Right. And so in that exchange, right, are we putting ourselves in a space to share freely? Right. Mentorship is a type of actually giving of the fruits.
Yep. And as human beings, really, we have very few instincts. We're taught everything, basically. And it's so important that we have the right teachers, the right mentors teaching us the right things, in order to, to be able to really, truly grow. Right.
You present a really beautiful point. One of the most powerful things I've ever learned from the garden is I can't make anything grow. I foster the environment where things want to grow. So that means that every choice I make is setting up the environment that is going to affect the growth of whatever's living there. Right. We've got to do a better job of making better choices if we want to see better choices in our little people. We're creating the environment that they will inherit. So that's why it's so important we as role models are doing things that present the community we desire. Right. And I think oftentimes we're disconnected from that because so many of us are caught up in the grind of the world.
Yeah, the grind, man. That's what a metaphor right there too. Just like caught between those gears, we're getting chewed up, and you are testament to how just a couple of plants can just kind of be the anchor point to start to get us out of that, to start to just give us some little refuge. For me, I got a little grow room down in my basement, and obviously my day is spent with plants and kids, but it's still a refuge for me. I love going down there, checking out the bright green of the plants, harvesting a few things for a salad. It's a refuge. You can find yourself there in a way that you can't find yourself in the busyness of the world.
Absolutely. And that's part of the reason why I've found so many of the answers lie in nature. There's something to be said about the wisdom of someone who's been planting something, even if it's the same thing for 50 years, and how they can see a weather pattern in a unique way. Like there's so many nuances. That's why I talk to people all the time about engage with nature. There's so much to learn from anyone who's been engaging with nature. There's so much to learn. So when you start engaging with nature and then you go find someone else who's been engaging with nature, all of a sudden there's just so much to share, so much experience to be had. I'm reminded of, again, the contradiction we're living. Life is full of abundance. It's everywhere. I mean, how many seeds are in any particular thing? It's full of abundance, but the abundance requires work. We're living in a world today where we want to talk about scarcity all the time, but that's because we're lazy. We're not willing to put in the time, the effort to do the work. It takes a while to grow a seed, and it takes a kind of respect for the tree to yield the fruit. That's immediacy, right? And so in our world today, we're not thinking enough about how we need to be planting that seed of respect daily to get the fruit we want to have. And then we need to do that over and over again because every tree isn't supposed to fruit all year.
Right. Yeah, we were just talking about starting to say goodbye to the tomatoes and such and getting ready for something new, a new season of the garden and a new season of life's coming up here.
But for so many people, it's much easier to conceptualize doing the same thing every day. Doing the same thing. And then we got into this habit where we started telling each other to specialize, to niche, to specialize. But in doing so, we stopped respecting. I'm all about niching and specializing if we're going to also acknowledge that we're but one gear in the great many gears. But if we do that, if we start believing like we're the only gear of import, well, now we've just screwed the watch. Like that's not how it's going to tick. That's
That's
that's just not how it works. And so it's like, oh man, these things are all so intricately connected. We got to stop being selfish.
yeah. I love these analogies and metaphors and really this overall philosophy that you bring in. And we've had you on before talk about, you've written some of these other books and really have built on that sort of thing. But taking from all of that and everything, what really, drove you and inspired you to get down and write a book for children and share this story about you and your grandmother?
So I give you the story because it's an incredible one, right?
All right.
I'm a teacher and administrator at a private school, K through 12. And before then, as an independent contractor, I worked for schools across the country. One of the schools was called Bridgewater Middle School. And I built sets for these different schools. And I would come in as an independent contractor, and I would design the set, build the set, paint the set, install the set, and then help them run the show. So to make the entire thing easy, right? I'd be the one-man production house. And I did that for a few years. And what I didn't realize was in doing that and then also going and volunteering at my old magnet school, high school, yearly, on top of that, volunteering for the youth groups and the youth camps in my area, I had absorbed a ton of information on and experience in engaging with youth. I just didn't realize it had happened, but it had happened. I can interact with any kid from any age all the way through their senior year. So I prided myself on coming to whatever level the student or the child was when I engaged with them. And several of my videos, I had wrote them so that it could be universally engaging. Well, when so that happened, several of my students were commenting on those videos, and then thousands of other people were commenting on those videos. And it was just this really wild thing to see the range in ages in the comments of the video, because it meant I was successful in having designed a video that could be appreciated by a plethora of ages. Well, Nancy Paulson read an article about me in the LA Times, and she reached out to me and was like, hey, have you ever considered writing a children's book? And I honestly had considered writing books before, and it wasn't like I had not considered writing a children's book. It was just never on the forefront of my mind. Well, she said, think about it. If you did, what would it be about? I had already been creating content from my experience to share with people, to try to bridge gaps of ranges of thought. So I was like, the only way to do that and continue to do that is to write from my experience and try to share that lens of experience with others. So that was the inspiration behind the book. How could I share my love for nature with the youth in a way that made sense to how I actually came to appreciate it? And it was like, oh, that's my grandma, 100%. Grandma, I love you for having me go outside to water the plants, letting me eat your hibiscus, yelling at me to get out of the kumquat trees. I'm so fond of those memories. How can I convey that? And that's the ethos and the real inspiration behind the book.
Yeah, wonderful.
That's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of love in those pages. You can see it shining through.
Awesome, man. Thank you. That's very nice.
Yeah. And like I mentioned before we brought you on, was that, for me as well too, I when I first noticed, because, I follow you and all of that, and I noticed you wrote this book and everything, and I was like, oh, how appropriate is this that you wrote a book for me in a way, right?
Yeah.
Because, I just became a grandfather this last
awesome.
year, and I was like,
congratulations.
This is perfect, because, I want to
awesome.
share these experiences with my granddaughter, and I want to raise her in these sort of things, and hopefully she continues and goes on in her life, whatever direction that may be, with those memories and those thoughts of inspiration from the time that we share in the garden space.
That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that, and she's so fortunate. There is something magical to be spending time with a grandparent, and there's so many studies done now that show what people have been saying for how many years. I love all of these times where we have a research paper or some sort of thesis come out that actually talks about something that's been going on around in just folklore for a long time. But spending time with your grandparents truly changes your confidence. It changes how you engage with the world around you. And there's something magical about it, to watch it, to have a grandparent around. And I was so fortunate to have Pearl in my life. She was the matriarch of the entire town, and she just carried a kind of temperament that I'm so thankful to have gotten to be reared underneath. So shout out to, is it a granddaughter or a grandson?
Granddaughter. Yeah.
Shout out to your granddaughter. Yeah, may all the things planted in her grandpa's garden grow and be filled with love.
Absolutely.
So Marcus, so I'm looking at the pages of this book right now. You know, one thing that's obviously really different than writing it in a children's book than in a regular book text is
it looks like this camera battery is dodging out on me. I'm gonna pause it, switch it. I'm still here. I'm listening. Give me a second.
I'll wait till you come back. But yeah, Enoch, it's like the children's books, when you read it, when your kid or your grandkid gets a favorite book, man, you're gonna read that thing hundreds of times, and it can imprint on your brain. Like I remember the Chicka Chicka Boom Boom was one. If you don't have that book, you should, because Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, will there be enough room? A told B and B told C, I'll meet you at the top of the coconut tree. I still have
Yes, you got it.
This was like 20 years ago, but it's still in my brain now. So these become just powerful. I mean, a child's book is more powerful than you would think. Let's just put it that way.
Absolutely.
Right. It's gonna imprint. And then what I want to chat with Marcus here when he gets back on is just this issue of the big bold drawings. Like you pare down the words, and then you work with an illustrator. And I want to know a little bit more about that process. Like you got this guy, Reggie Brown here,
Good point, Mark. I did want to mention that too. We got to give a huge shout out to Reggie for sure.
Reggie,
for
exactly.
Such great illustrations.
Exactly. As the author, I am fortunate that I get to choose who I want to work with as an illustrator. And I chose Reggie because I thought, the characters that I was looking at as I was choosing were really vibrant and seemed so lively. And then, as you go through the process, you find out Reggie's a very busy illustrator, because he is a New York Times best-selling illustrator, and he's been illustrating for many, many years. And then you just find yourself in this place of real fortune where I'm thankful that I'm actually collaborating with someone who has such a high pedigree. And I just didn't know at the time. That was just something that went over my head, but it was something that worked out in my favor in many ways, because it slowed the project down. We had to wait for him to finish those other projects before he could actually focus on this one. But when you think about how every project you work on makes you better, it's just that much more opportunity for him to have perfected his craft. And so I think that what you're seeing here is just mastery at work. And so then I was told many times, right, that's why it's such a collaboration, because the words are one thing, and the words need to carry a type of spirit with them so that the illustrator's work is easy and isn't needing to pull from nowhere. So then the other sides of that was like, what could we do to add in little texture points of the world, of the ecosystem, of the enterprise? And then on that, what kind of texturing would we try to do to make it feel like it was soft and engaging, but also vibrant and dynamic? And so again, shout out to the whole team, because it is a team effort. There's over 30 people who work on this piece of work to make it a true success. So Me and Reggie get the great fortune of having our names on this beautiful piece of work on the front.
Yeah.
But there are so many people who put in quality hours to make this possible. And again, Reggie's expertise speaks to every child who has walked past this book and stopped to go back and look at it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It just draws the eye in, and even like looking at the cover, there's a lot going on. The big smiles, man. There's like big smiles on the faces. So it's got joy coming out of it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's so awesome to hear. That's so awesome to hear.
Yeah, and that's I think another great point you make though too is that sometimes we could look at a children's book and think some simplicity and the again there's it's not much text and all of that when it comes down to other regular books and stuff, but there's a lot of people that go into making this what
Absolutely.
It needs to be to deliver the right message that you're looking to deliver. So again, like you said, huge shout out to all those others out there too, especially again, like you said, the illustrations, like, that's what my granddaughter is going to be noticing first, and foremost, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
like Mark says, for it to be portraying a sense of joy and those sort of things, just that's going to convey to a young child really well.
And
one thing
you reading it, as he was saying, while I was doing some technical adjustments, you reading it is going to be so impactful. And what you were saying about reading it several times is just so true. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, man. If your granddaughter's like my kids, you'll have about 100 books in a basket, but all they're going to want to read is like their favorite 3 all the time.
Over and over and over again, right?
Over and over and over.
Always like go for the one that they love, whatever that is. If it's this one, man, this one's going to be totally dog-eared and all worn out because you're going to read it every day. That's it.
Right on. Well, I know we don't got too much more time here, but I did want to ask this question from viewer David from Bowtie Life.
Okay.
Because Mark here, he's an educator and he's a teacher as well too. And David asks, how can parents or teachers use See Marcus Grow as a tool in classrooms or at home?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'll tell you a couple things. One, See Marcus Grow has been chosen for Jumpstart's Read for the Record for 2025. Excellent. And so they are the largest literary program in the world, and they are actually really helping me be a great early literary champion. And so I'm very fortunate for that, because I've already been trying to champion that, but them choosing my book as their 20th year anniversary catapults that to a new level. So one way to do that is to practice some of the things you see in the book, right? So there are several things that we do in the book. We talk about worms. Okay, that's a great opportunity to go and find some worms and talk about what worms do to your environment. They are there's another space where we talk about a tomato that's rotten and how we are quick to call that gross, right? But grandma reminds you to be nice. One, because the plants can hear us, something that science is, again, also talking more and more about. And then also the fact that plants grow better with love. Well, I think that there's something to be said there that's really deep. Like, we all grow better with love. So exercises that talk about the importance of kindness, patience, and positivity. How am I talking? How do I sound? Right? Am I being gentle? Am I being patient with the plant as it grows? Right? Am I finding solutions to help the plant? Or am I just judging what I'm looking at? These are really powerful lessons that I think See Marcus Grow gives us an opportunity to explore with our children, and in a way that's fun, in a way that's engaging, in a way that's very long lasting, especially when you can refer back to the text. And one of the things I will suggest is to make sure you're pointing to the text as you read it as best you can, because the way that helps with the pattern recognition really affects how one learns the lesson when you're away from that pattern and you're out in the actual texture of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that jumps to my mind as a response to that question too is at our school we have a grandparents' day, and we also
Mm,
grand friends because not every kid has a living grandparent or a
true.
grandparent nearby. And just it just occurs to me, it's like, oh my God, even I haven't thought of this up to this point. It's like on a day like that, plan a garden related activity for
Hmm.
the grandparent and the child to do together right
Yep.
at that moment.
And
Mm-hmm. That's
and
great.
and whenever you can, right? If you can do an older generation reading with this one, so it's a grandparents' day reading. Man, I'm telling you, I've seen it because we've done it a couple times. It goes so far to have the little one read this book with their grandparent while I'm reading the book to them. So you set up a story time, have someone read that story, and you read the book with your grandkid while you're reading the story. And it's a really powerful experience to have it, one, digest, but also create the sensory bond between you and your little one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. Right on. Did you have one good last question there, Mark? Well, I got two marks here, but
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I always just know when you start down a particular line of thinking, like especially this, like you said, I'm exploring my experience for what was real for me. But I mean, I'm imagining that this is only one of many possible stories. Did other powerful ones come to mind? You got any other thoughts that you'd eventually like to try to bring to life?
So yes, there are so many things. One, I'll tell you, there are several iterations, and this was the one that was chosen for the sake of the continuity
Yeah.
and the introduction, the baby steps, so to say. And as that is, there is a lot of room for growth, and so we're already working on our sequel that we will be sharing
nice.
in the future. In the meantime, between now and then, I'm working on a children's programming that we will release that's going to be a longer form content that speaks to this same ethos of growth and sharing. And I'm very excited for that because we've never done something like that. And our market testing so far has been incredible. So I think that the audience is gonna respond really, really positively when we release that here in the near future.
Cool. That's so cool. And that just brings to mind our next word. So we're doing 2 children's books in September with different authors. And this next one is for a little bit older kid. And so if you've got something coming up for the older kids, you might want to check this one out because this one is also really picture rich, but it has a little bit more sciencey based, and it's definitely set for slightly older, like maybe a middle school kid or even a early high school or maybe an advanced 6th grader, 5th, 6th grader. So it's kind of a second cool jump in age.
Yes. Yes.
Shift gears slightly, but you still hit them with a lot of images and really cool stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it. And okay, well, let's finish up. I'm gonna read from your little final your thank you here in the page that you have in your book here. But with that, give us any kind of final thoughts or anything as well about the process, maybe of this book, or what again, you've already talked about what you got coming up and all of that, but just give us a little bit of final thoughts there before we let you go. But I'll just read here from your last page. You say, "Thank you for reading this book. I hope it helps you share kindness, patience, and positivity with the world. It's my life's work as an author and speaker to share uplifting and motivational energy with others. I was blessed as a little boy to learn the importance of hard work and dedication from my mother, uncles, and dear grandmother. My grandmother loved nature, her plants, her chickens, and the stray cats that roamed her property alike. She taught me to treat myself, our garden, and all the creatures who lived in it with respect. Grandmother, the seasons will come and go, the world will change, but the lessons you shared will stick with me year after year. May you rest in peace, and may many, many others be inspired to be stewards of the earth."
Great.
Just love that last passage.
Thank
It's
you,
a really
man.
great way to finish that book.
Thank you for reading that. I love my grandmother so dearly, and that was my that is my open letter to her. So
Yeah.
I will leave you all with this thought. First, I am very proud of the fact that See Marcus Grow has been translated into Spanish.
Oh, way to go.
And so it is a beautiful thing to know that this is going to go to 8 different countries, and that there are people in multiple languages around the world who will get to appreciate this work. So here's to the effort to encourage more of humanity to get back outside and engage with our plant cousins and Mother Nature. The thing I will leave you all with, which speaks to what we have been talking about before, is every choice we make is a seed planted in the forest of our future. The more we choose to plant seeds of love, kindness, patience, and positivity, the more we will have wholesome roots. Wholesome roots will grow trees of prosperity that will yield fruits of success. And those fruits of success we can all enjoy underneath a canopy of peace, balance, and harmony if we all work together. So I hope you join me in planting those seeds today so that we can live in that canopy tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a metaphor that's a lifetime of unpacking. Thank you.
Oh man, just so wonderful. Again, it's so great to have you back on, especially to join us on our monthly gardening book club and to be able to feature such a really great, wonderful children's book for our September selection this month. So again, Marcus, congratulations on an outstanding book.
Well,
And thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thank you all so much. And thank you again for having me. It is a pleasure every time. Already looking forward to the next time. So you all have a great rest of your day. Here's to growing together.
Yes, indeed. Excellent. Right on, man. Thank you so much.
Doodles.
Later.
All right. Oh. Hey, gardeners. Thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals. And our incredible featured visits. All right. Wow. How about that, huh, Mark?
That was crazy good, man. That's some good stuff. He was just the energy coming off of him, talking about the book, but just talking about his past experiences. First of all, what an accomplished person, and just bringing all that energy to the garden world. It's a gift for all of us, but especially for that, just thinking about that. Yeah. A lot of times we're appealing to the head. We're talking to these authors. They've written a big, thick book, lots of words, lots of ideas. But this is like going at a whole different audience, a whole different part of ourselves. Even to read this book as an adult, it just activates a different center. It brings you more to the heart center, right? I mean, it's just a different center.
Yeah. And again, too, just I knew last time I had him on, and when I saw that he had published this book, that this was going to have to be a part of something again that I've talked to you about for quite a while as we had started this book club, is wanting to be able to do something like this with kids' books and children's books, because books are important for all of us, but they're really, really important for the kids, and and getting them started early, and that's why I wanted to do one of an early development book as well too, to make sure that we're really focused on that sort of stuff, because we got to be teaching these kids, we got to be inspiring them. And Marcus is just such an inspirationalist. He's just unbelievable. I just enjoyed the conversation I had with him the previous time on the show. It's just really awesome to be able to include him with our monthly gardening book.
I mean, I'm kind of thinking of my own kids, and like just this page with the garden tools, for example.
Yes.
It's like, how many books did I read, especially to my son, but my daughter too, with all kinds of big, like, diggers, backhoes, blah, 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 all this other kind of stuff, like construction equipment. but I didn't really have a book that had all the cool garden equipment in it. Even as a gardener, professional gardener, I wasn't able to bring that to my kids, like to show them, or like, what if there's a great kids book about like Venus flytraps, all the cool stuff about plants that we could just be, it's just planting that seed, as Marcus said, in the kid's mind at that age, that this is what it really we need to be focused on: the plants, the earth, the worms, the cool stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
We need about 1,000 more of these great children's books.
That's right, for sure, definitely. And again, thanks to Marcus for joining with us today. I know he had to get running. He's a busy guy. He's to get things going today and all of that stuff. But it was really thanks to him. Really thankful for him to be able to join with us here. And again, one more big huge shout out to Reggie Brown for the illustrations as well too, because you can't forget that when you're talking about kids books and all of that too. And again, I just can't wait to start reading this and sharing this with my granddaughter. It's going to be just awesome.
I know, that's great. You get to have it as a living book. Like a lot of our books, we do an author talk, we read the book, we put them on the shelf after. I know I still wind up touching a few of them afterwards and go back because there's such great thoughts and ideas. But this is going to be one you're going to completely wear this thing out. That's going to be great.
Yeah. It's hopefully, and again too, you mentioned that point of like kids like to have you read the same book over and over and over again. I just hope that this is one of them ones that she really chooses, because I can't wait. I'd love to share that with her and read it many times.
That's totally awesome.
Right on. And also you did kind of mention and brought up our next week's book too, because again, this is a little different for us. I mean, we only get to see each other once a month usually, but we, with this back to school gardening education book club month, I just thought it would be really kind of great to kind of cover a couple of different levels of children's books as well too. So that's really what was really great about having Marcus for this week's book. But then next week we've got Dr. Vikram Baliga's Plants to the Rescue book. This is just going to be really awesome as well too.
Well, kind of like this Marcus Groves thing, this one really is striking a note of optimism. And I think that's important too in these times. Like this is, I think I work in education and I work with kids, and there can be a tone of pessimism out there, like the world is getting worse, and there are, we have to look at the problems and name them and the big challenges. But this one really gives, like I said, a more mature kid, a little bit more mature, maybe from 4th grade on up.
Yeah.
The sense that there's some answers. And plants are a big part of it. That's what, I'm excited about this. I can't wait to talk to Dr. Vikram Baliga and see how he came up with this and where he thinks, the whole educational movement with kids vis-a-vis gardening is going. It's going to be a great conversation.
Yeah, for sure. And again, he also is a professor at Texas Tech. He's teaching, higher education when it comes to agriculture and all that sort of stuff. So I think there's just going to be a ton of just really great things to be able to talk with him about, from this book. And like you said, leading into, careers and things that, young folks can be thinking about as they're, moving on in the world.
Yeah. So that, not everybody, you don't have to be part of the grind. You can, there's a lot of careers that we can imagine that do connect you with nature. And I think we need to talk more and more about that in terms of everything from modeling it from the young ages on to things like job fairs and such. It's like we need to build more jobs and economies that center around regenerative nature, agriculture, forestry, foraging, soil remediation with plants, all this kind of stuff. There's just so many different ways we can be imagining this green future and green jobs, and ways that we can be connecting with nature versus opposing it or abusing it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, looking forward to again to be able to see you right back here again next Sunday for one more monthly gardening book club discussion.
Double trouble.
Double trouble with Mr. NBC this month, for sure, for sure. Looking forward to that. Absolutely. But I was just wondering, should we announce next month? We should announce next month's
Oh
book
yeah. Oh
for
gosh, we
today
got
for sure, right? And then we'll
reverse
just
excitement about it, right?
yeah, definitely, because that's the fun thing about ending usually, because we're not really over for this month yet.
Yeah, we're
But
not over.
it doesn't. We're not
Still,
over for this month yet. But it's one of the fun things about the end of our monthly gardening book club discussion is getting to announce and talk about our next month's book club selection. So let me get this right here. And let's talk about next month. We're going to have with us, and I know you've been kind of looking forward to this sort of discussion and talking about this as well too. We're going to have with us
yeah.
Kelpie Wilson. She wrote the Biochar Handbook, and I just got to talk about biochar a little bit this last week with the Biochar Coalition down at the event that I did down there, and they're big fans of Kelpie Wilson too, so they're really excited about our discussion this next month with her talking about her handbook there.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I've used biochar in some of my gardening, most notably the rooftop, and it's been amazingly transformative for the soil. I have to say, it really turned the Noble Rot rooftop garden around. And then I've made it with kids in a very informal way. I mean, anybody who's ever had a campfire has made biochar. It's the clinking little ashes that you get or cinders that you get that don't go all the way to ash. That's biochar.
Yeah.
But it's just
There's so much I need to learn about it too, and start incorporating that into my garden space. I haven't, I've heard and read about in different places, and even watched a couple of videos of people talking about how effective and useful it is in our gardens. But I haven't had a chance yet myself, so I think this is going to be the inspiration I need to get to maybe even burning up some of my own and getting it ready and put into my garden this next year.
I always say the reason why we're doing this book group, Enoch, is so it's primarily for you and I to learn the things we need to learn. And if other people get a benefit along the journey, that's good too.
Yes, exactly. Right on. Yeah, so that's going to be great. I can't wait for next month. I can't wait for next week. We've got lots and lots of things going on here for our show, but the monthly book club, like I said, it's just keeps chugging along month after month, just pulling in all these just great authors. We've got plans for even more as we're moving into this next season, so man, this has just been really great.
There's no shortage. And Enoch, my hat's always off to you and your amazing network, the way you network with people, the way you invite them in. There's nobody too big for you not to want to approach and say, hey, we can get someone on the show, or let's do this. So I always just feel like the sky's the limit in terms of who we're going to talk to. And that's just really exciting because there's so many great people out there and so many people I want to get to know and be in conversation with. And I think you're my gateway drug, Enoch, to doing all these.
I know, right? Huh? How fortunate we've been. But yeah, it is. It's like I said, I've told myself too, is like, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to try to get them on the show and all of that. And we've been so fortunate to have so many people just, jump on with us and to talk about all these just amazing things they do, especially with the book club, all these really awesome books that so many authors have written out there.
And just to think, just kind of like Marcus started with all those houseplants, just to think all yours started with just one little cucumber that got you on this whole journey.
Yeah. For all of the stuff that we're doing today, one little cucumber, man, and getting to eat this cucumber, and here I am all these years later hosting a gardening talk show on the weekends.
So there's no level that's too small to start. I mean, if you just have one of my mentors, a guy by the name of Albert LaChance, once looked at me and he said, if you just grow one geranium in a pot, you're a farmer. It was like kind of sense of ownership of it, just as like plant one thing, take care of one thing. Everything else can unfold from just one thing. All you need is one thing. So for you, it's like the cucumber, right?
Right, exactly. And yeah, once I discovered, because again, it's this idea that certain things aren't necessarily as accessible. I grow up and we think, we go to the store, we go to the grocery store, and this is where we get our fruits and vegetables from, right?
Yeah.
And then when you get someone to give you a little cucumber start, and then you put it in a pot out on your balcony in an apartment, and this thing grows actual fruits that you're eating and enjoying. That's just a light bulb moment right there. And from there, it's like, wait a minute, it's empowering then, at that sense, right? Now we've been empowered to be able to grow and do something that we didn't think of before.
Yes, totally.
Right on, man. I'm telling you, this is such a great show, great day of getting to talk and conversate with you, and to talk with Marcus as well too, about this really awesome book that he wrote there. And again, let me get this out real quick. One more last time. Let's give a big, huge shout out to Marcus. See Marcus Grows, and everybody knows, of course, we've got our links right down below in the description, so that you can get yourself a copy of this and share this great book with a young one in your life as well too. So again, really great, and I can't wait to get together with you again this next week, talk with Dr. Vikram Baliga about plants to the rescue. But yeah, it's about time to call this one a day, right?
All right. Yeah, looking forward. We don't have to prolong it, because we know we got next week. So we'll skip on over then, and we'll keep it part 2 coming out next Sunday.
That's right. Right on. Well, thanks, Mark. We'll see you here in just a minute.
All right, Ian, thank you.
You betcha.
Bye, everybody.
So, all right, there we go. Again, another great gardening book club in the books, on the bookshelf for this month. And again, we do have one more book to share with all of you this next Sunday for our second selection. And again, that's going to be Dr. Vikram Baliga joining us next Sunday to talk about his book, Plants to the Rescue. So be sure to join with us this next Sunday for that as well too. Also, if you didn't get a chance to check out the show yesterday we had a great show with some great guests as well too. We had Kay Cottrell, late bloomer, our good friend, one of my great friends, who got me helped me get started on this whole YouTube and gardening online and all of that too. So it was great to be able to catch up with Kay again and talk about her gardens. And also we got to meet Natalie from the Fresh Princess yesterday as well too. She's got an amazing growing space that she took us around and showed us this really cool. I mean, I've never seen a grow tent so big, in my life, but she grows all this really wonderful stuff utilizing, aquaponics, aeroponics, hydroponics, all that sort of stuff there. And just a great interview yesterday with Natalie. So you want to go back and check that out from yesterday too. And also, I would say talk about last Sunday's show, but we didn't have a Sunday edition last one. I kind of spent that traveling back home after having such a great event at the Fig Fest last week. So again, you guys go back and check out last Saturday's live at the Fig Fest event. And then I'll also mention too that the Sunday before, we've been having some really great conversations, new regular guest on our Sunday show every other month. We have Dr. Jeff Pierce joining with us, talking about gardening as medicine. And the Sunday before last, we talked about utilizing your garden for exercise and how you can find all these different opportunities for, exercise in our garden spaces. So that was a really great conversation too. You want to go back and check that out if you haven't yet already. And also we got I put out a garden tour as well too for all of my garden spaces here, so you guys can get a chance to take a look at all the different things growing on. More than what I was really expecting this year. I didn't really put out most of what I would normally grow in a growing season. I was, just kind of, I want to grow a few things, I always grow my peppers, grow a few other things as well too. But man, I'm really, really surprised at how well things are growing and how much is actually growing out in our garden spaces. Even though I didn't really put in the intention, I wasn't putting really high expectations on myself to really grow this big garden like I usually do. But I was really, really surprised, and so surprised at how much we had growing that we actually needed to have two. We had to split up our garden tour into two different parts. So there is two different parts to our garden tour you want to check out on our YouTube page there too. You can find that in our videos tab on our YouTube page, and check out my garden tour and check out all the cool things that we've got growing around on our garden, in our garden spaces out there. And also too, let's talk about what we got coming up. Again, we've talked about next Sunday we're going to have our second gardening book club this next Saturday, but we got a show this next Saturday for the Saturday show of Let's Get Growing. And this next Saturday I'm really excited about, and I know Mark is excited too, so hopefully we'll see him in the comment section dropping in some questions. But we've got Amy Stewart joining us. I mean, Amy Stewart, she's written so many great gardening books. We'll definitely have her back for one of those books for our monthly gardening book club. But we'll have to. I wanted to have her on as a featured guest for our Saturday show, so we can just dig into garden writing, talk a lot about all of the different books that she's written as well too. So I am just really, really excited about next Saturday. So I hope you all come and join with us as well too. We also are going to follow Farmer Marshall, Urban Gardener. There's a name that we see in our chat every now and then as well too. So Marshall's going to join with us for our Are You Following Me segment next Saturday. So you'll definitely want to come and join us to meet Marshall as well too. So again, we got some great shows coming up, lots and lots growing on here on the Let's Get Growing show. So again, thank you all so much for being here. Really, really appreciate you and all of your great comments and questions and everything today. And if you can, before we finish up today, let's do it again. Let's hit that thumbs up. Let's hit the like button there, and subscribe as well as hit the bell notification so you'll be notified of all these great shows coming up and our videos on the Urban Gardener channel. As well, share with all your friends too. Let's get the word out. Let's make sure that all of our garden friends can come join with us here on this wonderful Let's Get Growing gardening community we have here each and every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and that's 7 p.m. for all of you over in the UK. And again, we've got our Australians as well too. I know Rick's in the conversation as well, getting up really bright and early around 4 or 5 a.m. But thank you to all of you for getting up and joining with us here. And definitely, like I said before too, jump into our description that we have for our live stream video here, and check out the links to Marcus. You can check out everything else that he's got growing on, and get yourself a copy of See Marcus Grow. And guys, it's been so wonderful to hang out with you again today. I know we got a little bit shorter show than we usually do, but it's still great to be able to catch up with you here. And I really, really look forward to seeing all of you this next week again for some really, really awesome shows this next Saturday and Sunday. So I'll see all of you then.
power out,